Hello. So this writing notes video is part of my Teaching Strategies series. And today I'm going to talk to you about a technique that I've used for years to teach students about the rhetorical appeals of ethos, pathos, and logos. So this is an activity you probably could modify this for an online classroom, but I think it really lends itself better to a physical classroom, in particular because it asks students to get up and move around the room. So there's a kinesthetic element that I've found students really enjoy. So basically, you also need enough classroom space to have students move around. If you're in a tiny classroom, as I have been in the past, this gets a bit trickier. But basically, at the beginning of the class period, before we actually start, I'll go around not to the wall behind me, which usually has a chalkboard on it, but to the other three walls of the classroom. And on one of them, I'll tape a sign that says Ethos. On one, I tape a sign that says Pathos. And on one, I tape a sign that says Logos. So then what I ask students to do is to stand up and go over to the wall with the appeal that they think is the most important. So everybody who thinks that logos arguments are the most important will go over to this wall. Everybody who thinks pathos is most important will go to the back wall. Everybody who thinks ethos is most important will go to that side. You can put them in whatever order you want. Doesn't matter. Then what I tell them to do is as a group to spend a few minutes talking with the other people who have picked that appeal and come up with at least 3 reasons either why that appeal is the most persuasive or why the other appeals are less persuasive. So they have to come up with at least 3 reasons, though I encourage them to come up with more. Then we go through and we do 3 rounds. So I'll start with one group and have them give me one of their reasons, and I'll write it up on the chalkboard. Then the second group gives one of their reasons. The third group gives one of their reasons. All of them get written up on the chalkboard. And then I say, all right, is anybody persuaded by the arguments made by one of the other groups? And I give the students a chance to defect to a different group if they want to. Generally, they don't. Generally, they stick with their original position, but sometimes people do change. And so you do that 3 times. You get 1 reason from each group, allow them to change if they want to, a second reason from each group, allow them to change if they want to, and a third reason from each group, then allow them to change if they want to. So at that point, you've got 3 reasons or 3 sort of benefits of each appeal written up on the board. And you've had students think through this, think through why this particular appeal would be persuasive. So this is a useful technique for getting them to work through the strengths and weaknesses of rhetoric for themselves. Then I bring everybody back together, have them go back and sit back at their desks, and we talk about how you can't actually really have any of these rhetorical appeals functioning without the other 2 as well. So that becomes the sort of culmination of the lesson, is we can't, even though the lesson sort of suggests you can think about these appeals independently, or you can think about just one of these appeals, in reality, in order for any rhetorical text to be persuasive, you need to draw on all 3 of them. So this is a great strategy, obviously, for things like rhetorical evaluation papers or things like that, ad analysis, ad evaluation, anything where you're looking at rhetoric, you're looking at how a particular speaker is trying to persuade someone. This is a really useful activity. And again, because students get to get up, they get to move around, they get to talk with one another, students tend to find this a very enjoyable activity as well.